See if we can get it working.
They're always only the barrel.
Uh-huh.
And maybe it's less than that.
Or we can smile, wait there for the be good citizens.
There you go.
Is it a video or?
Thanks, Mark. I think the parking lot.
Yeah, the parking lot.
We've matched his donation.
Just getting you ready for one of your presentations. It's gonna be all official.
How exciting. We've got to have it. Mr. Miller, would you please lead us in prayer? Would you all stand?
Last week I spent a week at Gulf Shores, a little bit of sunshine. We were a couple hours away from where the hurricane was, kind of scary. Gave me an opportunity to get into God's Word a little bit and also to read some old Reader's Digest that I hadn't had a chance to read. I want just to share one of the stories from there that may have pertinence to our meeting today. Gus took 4 tires to a friend's garage sale and was asking $35 a piece. He needed to step away for a bit, so he asked his friend to watch them for him. In case someone offers less, how low are we willing to go? His friend asked. Well, try for more, but I'll take $20 each, Gus said and left. When he returned, the tires were gone. How much did you get for them? Gus asked. $20 each. Well, who bought them? The answer was, I did. Need to watch out. I don't know whether you noticed in Sunday's paper there was a cartoon under Mutt's, a fellow walking his dog home, and he says, we're all just walking each other home. And I take that to mean that we're serving each other. So let's pray just now. Father, we're thankful for the opportunity we have just now to come and pray here at the Commissioners' meeting. We pray, Father, that our prayers can be answered. And Father, just take this cartoon to mean that we're here on this earth to serve each other. I just pray, Father, that each one of us will take a responsibility to do that as best that we can. I also pray, Father, for this meeting as this group of people strives to serve the citizens of Fayette County. I just pray, Father, you'll be with them as they meet. Very important things that they'll be bringing up. We pray, Father, for clear hearts and minds. Good decisions will be able to be made. We do pray, Father, for the upcoming elections. We just pray, Father, for those who would be successful in their campaign, would be able to do your will as they take over the responsibility of their position. Father, we thank you for your Son, Jesus, who came into this world to serve us, to speak to us when we're lost, and give us an opportunity of abundant life and eternal life. Father, these things we all pray in his name. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. Wait a minute, I need to call the meeting to order before we do that one. I call this meeting of the Commissioners to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are there any additions or corrections to the October 2nd meeting minutes?
I move that we approve them as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Mr. Parker, do you have anything for us today?
I do not.
Okay. Michael King.
Morning.
Morning, Michael.
We've had the early elections going on, and that's been going pretty well, other than problems caused by the state side of the system. They've been getting a lot of errors and issues, but been going along well other than that. Then have one thing, last meeting, we got approved a update by Johnson Controls to fix a control board and migrate us into their Medisys system, which is what controls the jail. Bill and I were both implied by a technician, or I guess it wasn't the person that actually did the quote, that would also update us to the newest software. That was not the case. They sent us a quote for that of $11,852.35 to update us to the newest software. Neither Bill nor I think that that update is imperative, so we can put that part off. We just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware before we actually had them go ahead with the other approved work, that we were mistaken that it would update us to the newest software. However, it's still going to update the control that is burnt out and bring us into that same control system that's used at the jail. So that part is correct. So that was the 17,933 that was approved last meeting. We just both wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page and knowledgeable about what is going on prior to us doing this, so that next year or whenever we go to do this upgrade on the software and the actual server side of it, that's not a surprise.
Okay.
So, unless anybody has an
So
objection.
it's something that is not gonna be a problem to wait till next year if we need to?
Not to what we can tell.
Okay. Well, let's get closer,
Yeah, we might be able to go another 2 years, I don't know.
see
But
what we've got left over from the cost of the air compressor in the jail and
Yeah.
and the roof and the painting on the
yeah, all the
annex.
other issues that are going on that are imperative, like the control board side of it, that has to be
Control board.
done.
Yeah.
Whereas the other part, this would be nice to get done, but it's not make or break like the other part is.
Okay.
I have gotten quote from CEI on cameras at the highway garage. That quote was $5873.08. That includes the cameras, labor, and everything. I did get one quote from Corson that was $21.95. That is only cameras. Cameras, one hard drive, and PoE switch. They didn't include any labor. They said they wouldn't support what we've got, how the setup we've got it now. So I'm trying to get at least one more quote. I called Hoosier Security. They were supposed to send somebody down, and there was a guy out of Richmond that was going to send somebody over. I'm trying to get one more quote that includes labor so that we can compare apples to apples.
Okay.
But that's pretty much where we are now. Anything for me?
Thank you.
No.
I appreciate it, Michael.
Richard? I thought that was top of your head behind closed.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Richard. How are you?
All right, gonna start 9:25 in the morning, start paving. Would have started this morning, but they got some things going on with the mill up there, so should be on that first thing. Working on draining that RS2 out of the tank. I'll switch over to A90 so we can continue spray patching as long as we can do it this winter and stuff. So other than that, that's about the only thing we've got going on right now.
Okay.
Can you get Mr. Pennington this week?
Yes, yeah, actually going out there today.
All right, thank you.
Unless anybody's got anything. All right.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks, Richard.
you.
Oh, Richard, I do. Word on the trucks?
Called him actually this morning. They're still waiting to hear back from the company they're getting their trucks from so they could do the switching out. They ain't using our trucks, but I don't know what's, and they're going through our trucks. They're still going through, they got 2 more to go through theirs. They just ain't had time to really go through them. But I've been pushing them. I have been pushing them.
I may give the sales rep a call myself
Okay.
as well.
I think that would help a lot too.
Okay.
so.
All right, because we need to get ready.
Well, I told him this morning I'd like to have them for the first snowflake.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we can't control those very well.
No, no.
Thanks, Richard.
Yep.
David Baker? Okay, huh,
You'll have to go right to.
okay. He's not here yet. mail. We really don't have any mail, but I do have a little bulletin here. We will be doing a trick or treat at the courthouse on Wednesday, October 31st, between 2 and 4 p.m. Any offices that have a sign up on their door will be giving candy away. This is kind of to make the young people a chance to come to the courthouse, not for something terrible like losing their parents or something, but to see that it's not a scary place to come, and we want people to get accustomed to coming to the courthouse and visiting. So we've done this now for a couple of years, and it seems to have been a big hit. And we get to see all these cute little kids in their costumes. So, do we have any other mail? No. Okay. In old business is David Baker, and he's still not here.
And I have something else that has come up as far as
Okay.
old business. On the annex roof, shingles are going to match the courthouse shingles as best as possible.
Very
and-
good.
And they are, the shingle that they found is an upgraded shingle, and it's gonna cost us another $500 for the total roof, for the upkeep. So I would move that we approve that $500 change order to that bid.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve $500 change order to upgrade the shingles for the roof on the annex. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
And also, probably falls under old business, our painter that we contracted with has backed out of the contract. So Shomels is gonna do the necessary painting around the roof, at least around the roof line. And then
Okay.
maybe come spring, we can seek out a different painter to finish all the trim work on the
Okay.
annex and the courthouse. So they haven't given him a quote yet, Bill, a quote on what it's gonna cost to paint, but there's a certain amount of painting that needs to be done.
It goes with the roofing.
That goes with the roofing, so Bill has told them to plan on it, that we need to, but we'll need to do something official once they come up with a price. So there'll be another change order coming on the roof, so.
Okay.
Hopefully, they have ordered the shingles, so hopefully in the next week or so, we'll be able to get started.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
It's only
I'm
been
scared.
done for about 2 years.
Yeah, I'm scared that we're gonna be pushing the envelope on the weather now. That was it on the annex. That's all I had on that.
Jane, if you see David come in, give me a shout, will you? Okay. We'll go to new business. Diana Wright, Public Transit.
I'm just here to give the quarterly report for Fayette County Public Transit. This gives Leota permission to sign the quarterly report. We are drawing down $69,340 from NDOT this quarter, and we serve about 4,000 people this quarter.
Very good. Could you give the transportation phone number? I get upset when I go to all these meetings, people say we need public transportation. I keep telling them, we have public transportation. It's not just senior center and it's not just handicapped. We have public transportation.
transit.
The senior center runs it, but it is public transportation and it's for everybody in Fayette County.
The phone number is 825-1541.
825-1541. If you need a bus ride, give them a call, and don't wait till the last minute. Don't wait till 5 minutes before you have to get to the doctor's office. If you call them the day before, they'll schedule you and be sure and pick you up in time to get you there. So we do have public transportation in Fayette County.
We do try to service within an hour
Okay.
from phone call to pick up, so if you're in the city. Now, outside the city limits, that's,
We are working on getting a route established so that maybe twice a day, morning or afternoon, they would automatically go from the east side of Connorsville and around down some of the main streets and corners where people could just catch the bus. And if that would happen, that would be a big asset.
Is the new software up and running yet?
The new software will be delivered in November. We had, the contract's been signed, so we're just waiting for the
On the
company to
vendor.
come in.
Do you need a motion to approve the quarterly report so
Sure.
that she can sign?
That would be great.
I would move that we approve the quarterly report and authorize the president's signature on it.
I'll second.
Been moved and second to authorize quarterly report and approve my signature. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Diane.
Charles Malinowski. Malcon.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Charles Malinowski, President of Malinowski Consulting, also known as Melcon. It's great to be back again. Back in 2012, I was in front of you requesting an agreement with both the prosecutor's office and with the clerk's office to do monthly Title 40 expenditure reimbursement claiming. And we were, at that time, we were using what we called the letter of understanding, and we moved to a contract with the commissioners that makes that in alignment with the Indiana code. So everything, we've had a really great experience with both the clerk's and prosecutor's office since then, and thanks to having that agreement, we continue to do that work today. Today and if you have any questions, you could certainly ask now or follow up with me after the meeting. I'd be happy to answer the terrific job that we're doing to get reimbursements back to the general fund. Today, we have a proposal in front of the commissioners to take over the county's preparation of the annual cost allocation plan. And this is the report that is submitted to the Indiana Department of Child Services once a year, and you get paid quarterly for the costs that aren't billed monthly for the clerk and prosecutor. Those things being indirect costs, payroll services in the auditor's office, accounts payable processing in the auditor's office, the finance work the treasurer does, the commissioner's budget, insurances like workers' compensation, property, facilities management, office space rent that we kind of call that, and a number of things, information technology, the telephones, all those things that you would have in a normal business, and certainly the Child Support Enforcement Program is a business, and the federal government reimburses on that. You've had another vendor prepare this service since the inception. It's well over 20 years. Originally it was David Griffith and Associates, and that was the company that I worked for, and presently you're using the firm Maximus. We've had a discussion with Auditor Jane back in August about working with the auditor's office to do this. We had hoped to have a face-to-face, but you've been very busy with one thing or another. So today is our first opportunity to really get face-to-face on this, to talk about what we'd like to do and how we could help the county in a different way. And I'll kind of wrap this up with number one, how much does it cost? Number one, our fee is $300 less we're proposing per year. So I believe Maximus charges $4,500. We're coming in at, $4,200. Related to the fee, and what's really significant about us and the other guys, if you will, we recommend that our fee be paid out of county fund 8895. This is the Title 4D money that's a bonus from the federal government. Pardon me. It's a bonus from the federal government, and you can only spend that on 4D money. Now, we work with the clerk and the prosecutor on using that money wisely, following all the guidelines to make sure that it's done the proper way. But as of June 2018, there was slightly over $100,000 in that Fund 8895, sometimes referred to as the County 4D. That fee, regardless of what you do today, the consulting fee for the cost allocation plan can be shifted from your budget in the general fund to 100% coming out of these federal monies. So, right off the bat, that would save the general fund $4,500. Now, that $4,500 does get reimbursed at 66% down the road, 2 years later when the cost plan's done. But what would you rather get? 100 cents on the dollar refund, or wait 2 years to get 66? So the county actually loses money, 33 cents on the dollar, by doing that. So we also have a memo that we could provide the county auditor that from the Department of Child Services that clearly states that this is a prudent
expense.
course in, yeah. So then that's what we're really all about. And when we started Malcon 15 years ago, we talked about how much money we could make, and we could do it faster and easier. But these days, it's all about audit defense. And we certainly have gone through the audit process with the clerk and the prosecutor's office with the Department of Child Services and the State Board of Accounts. We're very, very proud of cooperatively. We can't do that alone. We also have to work with the auditor's office. So to make sure that that gets done properly. So today we're asking you to consider our proposal for the 2017-18-19 cost allocation plan. What that's going to require is not only that you sign the agreement, but I do have a letter prepared that to terminate the existing agreement with Maximus. And that's all I have. So if there's any questions.
No? Very good explanation.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I would move that we take this proposal under advisement.
One second.
Been moved and seconded to take this proposal under advisement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you.
Very good. You're welcome. Should I check with the auditor as to when we're gonna back this, follow up on that? Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you, Auditor.
Thomas Harper.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This may seem kind of petty, but it's about a piece of ground, our property on State Road 121 down in Alltown. There's a tract of land that goes to the old cemetery right next door to our property, which we've owned since like 1964. And the cemetery line, come to figure out, like in 1974, actually the line of the cemetery, or the county property, is actually like in the center of our drive that goes up back. It probably ends up being less than 1/10 of an acre. But it had never been a problem until like the last 5 years. And I believe it's Corey Lakes that's taking care of the cemeteries.
Corey France.
Huh?
Corey France.
Is a friend. Anyway, he's got a bigger truck and rig and has trouble getting like in and out. And he had been backing in, and then he backs into my backyard, which is right over top of my septic system, and which is a problem. And I spoke with him about it, and I understand his problem because he's got a bigger truck, a big box rig, because all the people that took care of it before, they just had smaller pickups and stuff like that, and they could get turned around out front and stuff. And I understand he can't really turn around out on 121 there. It's a dangerous spot. So I'm trying to figure out what to do about it, because we always maintain the fence there. In '74, I believe my dad found out. That's when we figured out that the actual property line, our property line, didn't go to the fence. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a gap we've maintained forever, and everybody did before that. And they told us not to worry about it. It'd always be ours, even though it belonged to the county. So anyway, we redid the fence, I know, back in the '60s, and it's shot again and needs replaced. And I plan on replacing it again, but this time I'm thinking about putting up a gate across the driveway, which is a problem because part of that where I'm putting the fence is county property and our property, the gate. Because I gotta stop the turnaround on my septic system. It's the older system with the, 4-inch top, and I can't have it backing over top of it. So I'm just trying to figure out what the answer is to this. You know, and you know, I think a turnaround just needs to put in front of the cemetery and back out there so he can make a loop onto the 121 without trying to get turned around out there or backing over my septic.
Can he park down at the Old Town store and then just drive his mower over?
Oh, man, I mean, he could, but all the equipment and, you know, the crew that works with him, you know what I'm saying, you know, that'd probably be just as dangerous as anything else, you know, I don't think he's gonna wanna do that, you know. But I understand his problem, you know, I've told him all before, you know, we've never had no problem till, you know, his big truck and rig, you know, because, you know, I got no problem with them coming up back and turning around back up there, you know, like they always have, you know, I've never had a problem with that. It's just until lately with Corey and this, of having a problem backing up on top of the septic system, you know, and that's a problem. You know, because it may have damaged it already, I don't know, you don't know that.
Have you shared that with Corey?
Yeah, I spoke with him about, I believe.
With no cooperation, or?
Actually, it's kind of a rude cooperation, you know, between me and you. You know, he got kind of upset about it, and, you know what I mean, then finally he cooled down, you know, but I was trying to be as nice as I could be about it, you know, understanding you can't be backing on my septic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, you know, you're gonna cave it in, you know, and he, you know, that's when he said, well, I can't turn around out there, you know, it's like, well, I understand that too. I said, well, everybody else, well, I told him, I said, I believe it was even his dad and someone else that used to take care of it years back. I said, well, they always backed up in front of the cemetery, you know, and there's a big spot out front of them, always backed in there and pulled out. And he was like, well, I really don't want to do that. And I said, yeah, I know why you don't want to do it, because it'll rut it, but you'll back in my backyard and rut my yard and take a chance on busting my septic with him. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it wasn't very good.
Well, actually, he has no business on your property.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, all jokes aside, you know, there's no good way that's a dangerous spot right down there on 121. It really is, that spot. I mean, there's been 3 accidents just this summer with no one backing out in front of them, right in front of our house in that canal, right there. You know, and it's a bad spot. You know, so you can't be really turning around out on the road or backing in off the road. It's a bad spot. I mean, you can pull in front of the cemetery, but I understand his point. You know, when it's soft, it'll make a mess. You know what I'm saying? But he did it in my backyard, you know, and put it on me. That's why I say
Different story if he could stay on the driveway. It'd be different if he could stay on the driveway.
You know what I mean? But the problem is with his big truck and stuff, and that, you know, because he's got one of them big enclosed, and he, you know, carries like 3 different types of mowers in there and all their trimming equipment and all that. He's got a good outfit, you know, but, you know, he can't hardly get it turned around back in there. So I don't know how he must have backed in the last time off of 121. You know, he must have, because he was backed in the day I spoke to him about it, you know, and because I put rods up to try to keep him from doing it. But, I
Getting
mean,
off of the driveway itself.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so he must have backed in. He's probably upset about that already, you know what I mean? That's why it probably wasn't a very good talking we had, you know, because he had to back in and probably had someone out there flagging and stuff, you know, which I don't know. I didn't see him. But he had to get backed in there some way, so he must have came off 121.
Leota, do you think that the president of the cemetery commission might meet with him and they try to come up with an overall plan, and then we'll take it from there?
Yeah, I think we'd have to meet with Corey.
And then if it comes, I mean, once the president and he come up with
A solution.
a solution, then we speak with Corey.
So you're putting the fence,
The fence would be going right where it's always been, you know what I mean? Right.
but
right.
that's not the end of your property. You're putting the fence into the cemetery property.
Correct. That's where it's always been forever, you know what I mean, all the way back and, you know.
So your driveway is part of the cemetery property, is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
it kind of goes, if you started at 121, it kind of goes, it like starts in the middle of the driveway and then goes back at an angle to the corner of the cemetery fence, and our property goes in behind it and back. I actually got a piece of paper, I drew it if you could make any sense out of it.
Could I look at it?
Yeah.
Because I have absolutely no idea where you're at.
Look at it, this is State Road 121, this is like Connersville here, heading toward Law.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then our house is right here. I got a little house right here, but I don't rent it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's the driveway, and it goes up back, my pole barn's back here. Our property's here, neighbor's property down here, the cemetery property is here. Okay, now the cemetery property line goes like this, comes on to what is us, you know what I mean? And comes down, goes in our drive, and then off
Okay.
like that, okay? And like I said, here's where, you know, everybody always turn around, even me over the years coming in with the truck, with the trailer. I would either pull in off one point and pull in here and I'd back up this way. Or, you know, I mean, I would back up and back in here and then pull out. You know, I'd always make sure it's solid, you know what I mean, to do it. Now, my septic system's here. See, what he's been doing is coming up here, backing in here.
Oh,
And
he's
then-
pulling into your driveway.
Or he
Is there
had
an
this
existing,
number around.
the existing fence is going up along your driveway?
No, it don't go, no, right here, it stops here.
It stops here. So all this,
That's cemetery property,
that's cemetery property.
after one.
Why couldn't we have the highway garage just
Do it.
stone some?
That's what I was gonna say, there'd
In
have to
front
be a
of
can,
that,
there would have
and
to be
he
a
can just-
can.
Like a pull-off?
And
Yeah.
there's a spot right there they wouldn't even have to dig. They drop a can in right here, all the other side. They drop a can in right here, and then come in right off the corner of this drive and make a loop over and right back out. A real safe spot, goes away.
We'll have to seek a driveway entrance from the highway department.
Well,
or
the
the
problem
state
is,
highway.
it's a state highway, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say.
We'll have to get a permit to put a can in there to do that, but even if he could come in from the south and back off in here and back up in here even, and still use,
Well, I tell you what, the other thing, like.
if
the
you don't
fence-
have a problem with him continuing to use that
No, I've
entrance.
never had a problem. I never had a problem with the other guys. They would come up here, and I actually got gravel comes back by the pole barn. They'd come back here, pull up, turn around, go down like this. I've never had a problem with that. It's just since him and that bigger truck and him,
Okay.
and started backing up on the top of my septic system, you know what I mean? I can't have it, you know what I mean?
But if we could stone this area out in here,
Yeah.
where he could come from, either come from the
Either way,
south
He had a pull-over.
and back in
Well,
there.
like I said, I eventually, I wanna redo the fence again, cause it's pretty shabby
So
now.
basically, this is the cemetery line. It
That's
goes right through the
exactly.
middle of your driveway up.
Yep, and then come over. It probably altogether, the amount of ground that we're talking about, it's probably ain't even a tenth of an acre, we figured out, but what I've even thought, you know, being there ain't actually no gravestones down to here, right here, when, if the fence was redone, it possibly bring the fence back farther even here.
And he could pull in your driveway and back around.
Right, we still have to have gravel put in,
Gravel,
something,
right.
you know, some type of a, something, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
base.
Come off the soft
Yeah.
road.
Yeah. You know,
We'll
I'm
see
sure-
what we can work out, so.
Okay, all right. I appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for the picture, by the way. It's worth 1,000 words.
Is that it then?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For you to see it?
I'm sorry?
You want me to pull it up on GIS or anything to see it?
I think we're all right, Michael. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, I saw. Mr. Baker, we called for you several times already. Would you like to please present your 144 and your SOPs for 911?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No problem.
I have a 144 for another part-timer.
Very
And,
good. I would like to make a public statement that we don't think 911 are our stepchildren, that we are very happy with the work they do, and we really appreciate how hard they work over there. I saw an article on Facebook by a current part-time employee and a former full-time employee that implied that we didn't think anything of them and we didn't care about them, and that's not true. They don't get any more money because we can't afford it, and it's not in their
I
budget.
know that.
Has
I know
nothing
that.
to do with how well we appreciate them.
Sure,
Those people work crazy hours and have a tough job.
for sure. Yeah, and the SOPs that were given, was that 2 weeks ago? Or
Yeah,
have
the
we had
last
enough
meeting.
time to look over those? I realize that they're probably gonna be a work in progress that needs to be added to and modified as time goes on, but I think it's probably a good starting point.
I would move that we approve the SOPs that were presented as a baseline,
Yep.
and that through the work of the other departments and David, that they build on that current base model. And so I would move that we do approve those, the use of those.
I'll second
Been moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the 144?
Is who?
Well, the one gentleman I hired, was that the 144 we did last time, Join Cheek?
Yes.
So at this point, the person, we have not found another part-timer. So I think I have just perpetually lined up to ask for another part-timer.
Just in
because I lose
case.
So quick. So I don't have one.
We're caught
So
up then.
Yeah, we're caught up, so there's no reason to approve that one, but I'll probably have one by next time, I
it.
think.
Go find one.
Yeah, I'm working on it. So, yes, thank you.
What's your goal
Thank
to have on the roster as far as part-timers?
well-
Maybe a dozen?
No, not really. I don't have a specific goal. What it is we look at our schedules and we see what kind of crisis is created just by one person either having a medical crisis or one person going on vacation, and then having to find, we're limited to our part-timers' hours, and so having to find the catch-22 is a lot of times the full-timers don't want to take the overtime, and so we have to find someone to fill these positions, fill these slots, these hours. And we'll have these very eager part-timers who, if you don't watch them, they'll work 50, and they're not allowed to work that many. And so you have to watch them really close. And so it's as much an art as it is a science to try to figure out the happy medium. And then the apple cart's upset by one of them will leave. So an actual number, it depends on the actual person and how many hours they're willing to work.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All
Thanks,
right.
David.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Doug Dukes.
Doug Dukes is next here, back on the schedule. Elevated architecture.
It is. Yeah. So, good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to present ourselves to you. I think last time I was here was about 9-10 months ago. Brought some old drawings of your assistant county jail. Dusted them off. We were the original architects. At the time, we were Schinkel Schultz. Now Elvadas brings about 34 years of history designing specifically detention centers. Since then, we've designed about 23. I think at the end of the year, it'll be 25 county jails in Indiana, as well as some larger supermax facilities for the federal government, Terre Haute, Miami Correctional, Guantanamo Bay, those sorts of facilities. So when we looked at your drawings, the conversation was, maybe we could go up, and it didn't take a whole lot of effort to look at the drawings and realize that your facility was not designed to go up. So,
It was supposed to have been designed that way.
Is that right?
Evidently, yeah.
and that
Never
may have
did it.
been a value engineering.
Yeah.
That was before my time, and I apologize, I don't have an explanation
Yeah, that's fine.
how that happened. But
We just wanted to make sure,
yeah,
one way or the other,
yeah.
is what we were after then.
Yeah, and that's important to know because you got to know all your options,
Yeah.
right? And what you can and can't do and what's financially feasible. But again, just wanted to let you know who we are, and we can not only just design your facility and help through the construction progress, but I mean I don't think that you go through these kinds of projects every day. So there's a lot of things. You'll have a lot of questions early in the process that we can be there to help with. And we'd be happy to help. Just if you give me a call and say we're thinking about this property or this site, or there is no contract or financial obligation required to that. We'll be happy to help you however we can. Just want to be there for you to help you through this process. So when it is time to hire an architect, Elevadas comes to your mind.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Aaron Johnson.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm taking the place of Mike Bottomley. So the
You're a
cars.
lot shorter.
What?
I said you're a lot shorter.
I am. And nicer, but don't tell that. So the utilities, we're going to upgrade our digesters. We're going from anaerobic to aerobic. So we're working on getting all the construction bids and all that. And I'm here to get a building permit fee waiver from you all. We have to do some electrical upgrades. We're gonna add roots blowers, and so that's gonna cause us to have to do some electrical upgrades over there.
That project's gonna be yet this year, or?
We're doing opening bids at the end of this month, so I think they're shooting to start construction early next year, probably February or March. So,
I'll move to waive their permit.
Their fees? No, okay. Second.
Been moved and seconded to waive the fees for the city and the utilities. Tell the mayor we're even now. He was up to complaining to me about he painted our parking lot. So now we'll
Well,
take
I'll
care of
pass it
his
on for
fees.
you.
So we keep trading jobs here. Okay. Thank you.
thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you, Aaron.
Brian Hensley, Fayette County School Corporation.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Appreciate you letting me meet and present real quick to you guys. I have Superintendent Scott Collins with me today as well, and also Nick Allen from Performance Services. Performance Services is our guaranteed energy contractor, and they're also serving as the general contractor for the solar project. So I'm here today to ask that you guys waive the building permit fee for the project. And I wanted to quickly just kind of run through the project with everyone if I could, if that'd be okay.
Yeah.
So we are doing the solar project for the, can somebody drive this thing?
You got it.
Is it going, okay, sorry.
Just had my mic up.
So we are doing a solar project at the Carnesville High School grounds. Some of the reasons and benefits that we're doing, so obviously it's financial, the financial piece. So we're going to capture about 70% of our total energy usage. Sorry. About 70% of our total energy usage with the solar panels that we're going to be installing. There's an educational benefit to that as well. So it's called a need-based educational piece that goes with it. So classrooms will be able to remotely access the grid to see how much energy we're producing and how much is going to the grid. So there's the education part of it as well. And also the environmental piece. Obviously it reduces your carbon footprint. It's an energy stewardship, and also it kind of meets with the community goals. I know there's some community solar projects that are going on as well. So here we got, so why are we doing solar again? We're about 4 times, the installed cost now is about 4 times lower than what it used to be in 2000. So the technology is getting better and the cost to implement is going down, as you can see. Senate Bill 309 was basically a net metering. So for solar projects that were installed previous to year 2018, there was a net metering benefit. We're trying to get this solar project completed by December 31st to gain as much of that net metering as we can. So anything installed after 2022 is not eligible for net metering. And so the earlier we get it in, the better for us. So that's why we're trying to push and get this installed as quick as we can. This is just kind of an overview of kind of how the solar panels work. So obviously, number one, you have the panels. It goes to the inverters, then to the meter, to the grid, and then right into our system. So I don't want to get into the weeds as far as the ins and outs of how everything works, but this is just kind of a general overview of how the solar system is going to work. So the solar process, we're kind of in between step 3 and 4 in this process here. So we've had the site assessment, the system has been designed, we're got the system approved, and we're right in the middle of the system approval and the installation now. So we've had companies on site doing the preliminary groundwork and everything there. So we're about halfway through the process. So for Connersville High School, the size of the system that we're going to implement is a 999 kilowatt system. That's the largest system that you can implement on 1 meter. You can see the annual production of 1.7 million. We're cash flow positive in year 1, 20-year net benefit of 1.7 million, 30-year net benefit of 5.1 million. So you can see we're kind of front loaded in the investment, and we see a lot of the savings down the road. Approximately 3,500 solar panels, 30 inverters, and the need organization, that's the educational piece I talked about earlier. You can see here, this is our the site. So the Connersville High School is right here where the cursor is. Career Center is back here, administration building. Everything that you see here in blue, this is actually the solar field and where it's going to sit. Several factors went into this decision as where it would go. Our current meter for the whole hill is right here. So that was the best place for us to set it as far as the location goes. It doesn't affect any adjoining landowners. So we had several different areas that we looked at, and this was the consensus on what would be best for the site. So then this is, again, some of the need, the educational piece of it. So we have access through the web 24/7. We also have mobile access if we want to look on your cell phone and see kind of what the grid is producing and the different things there. This is the education piece we talked about. So it's at grade levels, it's hands-on, there's classroom kits that are involved, access to the web, there's teacher training workshops that are available. These are some of the projects at different schools in Indiana that Performance Services have done, and I just included these just to kind of get a visual of what it is actually going to look like. So this is at Delphi Community Schools, Michigan City, and you can see that if you're in an area where you think there could be some vandalism, there's fencing that can go around it. We haven't gotten that far yet to see if we're going to need that, but it's just something to keep in mind. Just a couple more projects to look at. So kind of our next steps, obviously we've got the review, we're doing the design, we're in the process now of soliciting bids, and so we're going to be doing the bid review, and we want it to be operational by December 31st, again to get as much of that net metering benefit as we can. So does anyone have any questions?
When you talk about net metering, what do you mean by that?
So basically you get a one-to-one credit from the electricity that you produce. And
That's in excess.
Correct. So investor-owned utilities like Duke Utility is mandated to offer that to their customers, public entities, up to the system size that we've designed for the school corporation.
Okay.
The benefit was 30 years. Senate Bill 309 that Brian talked about cut that benefit in half to 15 years, and each subsequent month, day you wait, that benefit starts counting down from 15 years until 2022 when it goes away.
Meaning they'll be required to pay one-to-one
Meaning
for that many years.
Once net metering is eliminated, then the school is only reimbursed at the wholesale rate of power, which is about a third of what their consumption rate technically will be at that time.
So with that in mind, I would assume then you have no battery storage.
No, we're not holding batteries anywhere on site. This power it's supplied straight to us.
It's either used or
Correct.
sent
back to the grid.
The grid.
It's like rollover minutes on the old cell phones. You bank in the summer, they're going to be banking electricity that will go out to the grid because school's not in session, so they won't need as much. But then in the winter months, when the panels aren't producing as much and they're in school, they'll have the credits built up from that summer period that offset
I
their
see.
usage.
Okay.
I got 2 questions. If a kid stands back at those rocks, can he break them panels?
Now, there'll be at least an 8-foot fence. I know there's some kids that can still throw a rock over that. But we've included kind of operations and maintenance funds. We haven't had that come up yet on the school
Well,
campus.
will that all go into the school's insurance? Okay.
And we'll probably have security cameras aimed at that too.
Okay.
The 70% of coverage, is that the total hill or
That's
just the high school?
That's the entire, that's the career center, the high school, Magic Moments daycare, the maintenance building, the bus lot.
That's-
Everything that's up on the hill.
Correct. But with the exception of the administration building, it's metered separate.
Okay.
The location is between the administration building and the career center, if I
Correct.
was checking the map right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Your presentation showed that you would be a positive cash flow after year 1?
Year 1, correct.
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
I'll move to approve the building permit, approve the building permit.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to waive the fees. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope it works good for you.
Thank you.
Is there plans to, Scott, to move it, to expand to the other school
And we
buildings?
talked about that, we wanna see how this goes, and, you know, it's really, when you look at the cost of the 2.4 million, we're estimating about a $200,000 savings that we pay to Duke. So we're paying for this project through the savings of
Right,
energy.
yeah.
So we're not taking out new money, it's not money that's coming out of the bank, we're just using the proceeds. So, we have a couple of other schools in the county that we talked about looking at where we have land where we could put much
I was
smaller
gonna say,
grids.
there's
Fayette Central, Everton.
Fayette
but
Central and
We
Everton.
wanna see how this process goes first. We work with Performance Services and done a really nice job with some other projects, so
Okay.
I'm excited about the future with what we can do if this, you know, how it works.
I appreciate the information. I really do. And the education, for that matter. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Tax dollars are tax dollars, so we can't be using them twice. Thank you.
You saw the number, you know, that's a fairly conservative number, $5 million savings over 30 years. So we hope it's more.
Is when you talk about the savings over 30 years, is that the life expectancy of those panels, or
So
will
there's
they
a-
have to be replaced before?
There's a power production warranty that's 25 years. The inverters will need to be replaced in year 20, and that's included in the cash flow that we provided the school corporation. So the net benefit reflects inverter replacements at year 20. There's panels that were installed 40, 50 years ago that are still operational and producing power. Now, over time, obviously, they're not as efficient as they once were, but I'd expect them to last beyond 30 years.
Oh, okay.
And that's just extra savings
Yeah,
after that.
yeah. Great, thank you.
Brad Walton.
Thank you for letting me come talk. My name is Brad Walton. I'm the building trades instructor at Whitewater Career Center. I'm not going to be nearly as involved as these guys.
They set the bar high, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I didn't bring a presentation. Thanks, Brian. So, anyways, we also have a 501c3 nonprofit, Whitewater Vocational Builders, and we just recently purchased a house up at 208 West 35th Street up in Office Park. It's pretty rough right now, and we're looking at doing a complete remodel to it. And the educational opportunities for the students are unbelievable. Instead of building a new house from the ground up, we are going in and doing a total remodel, which brings in its own aspect of items where you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole in a lot of certain situations. And lets them think on their feet, lets them get creative with how to accomplish a goal instead of going straight by, this is how you do A, B, C, D. But what I'm requesting that today is a waiver of the building fee or building permit fee up at the Office Park.
I'll move to approve the waiver for the building permit for the building trees.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to waive building permit fees. I don't know if our area plan commissioner is going to be too happy with us today. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Losing lots of money for bills, projects down there.
On a side note, I also wanted to, as an ambassador of the Career Center, the past 4 or 5 years, we've really done some remarkable things up there, and invite the three of you and any other county officials to feel free to visit anytime. If I'm not available to help you out, our administration and office staff would be more than willing to give you guys a tour. And I encourage you guys to come in and see what we've been doing the past several years. And you might be surprised a little bit by the changes we've made.
Okay. Thank you for the invite.
Well, I received your phone number from Brian yesterday, and I have a project I'd like you to be looking at and work on with me.
Okay.
So I'll be
Looking
contacting
forward to
you.
your phone, or for your call. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Farmer.
Hi, I'm actually Mark St. John. Michael Farmer
I
is
was gonna say,
this gentleman.
That's not who come up and said he was Michael Farmer.
He's our Director of Transportation at Shrewsbury. I work for him, and he asked me to lead this presentation today. We were just asked to come by and introduce ourselves and let you guys know who we are and what we do. Our company name is Shrewsbury. We're based out of Indianapolis. There's about 80 of us. We're a civil engineering firm that runs a full service of civil engineering services. So we do transportation and traffic design. We do water resources. We do aviation design, construction inspection, owner's technical rep, all sorts of things in the civil related field. We also offer local technical assistance to cities and towns and counties. My background is actually in local government. Before I worked at Shrewsbury, I worked for the city of Franklin. I know Michael's background is also in local government, so we have a very thorough understanding of how government works and how funding sources work. Recently, we've worked on funding for several communities. We've gotten school flashers funded in the city of Greenwood, paving projects in the city of Lawrence and the city of Indianapolis, just to name a few. Like I said, I personally worked on lots of funding sources, everything from Okra grants to state funds to NDOT funds to federal funds, and everything in between. So that's the brief overview of Shrewsbury and what we do. If you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them now or after the meeting.
So you basically would be able to help us with our community.
Yes, yeah, we
Crossing
actually
grants
just
and-
help submit community crossings for the city of Lawrence and the city of Indianapolis. But yeah, that's definitely something we could do and we're very well versed in.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you for
Do you
coming.
have some cards?
Yes, yes I do.
Oh, okay, great.
My card. Folders are just gonna kind of outline what I touched on briefly today, who we are and what we do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. One extra one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very good. Moving right along here. Oh. Yes.
Is it to announce it here?
There's going to be a public hearing for the Everton Water Project and the Okra Grant on October the 29th at 6 p.m. at the water office down on State Road 1 in Everton. I found out about it through an email that I had sent this notice to the News Examiner, and it came as a big shock to me because I wasn't invited. Anyway,
I'll move to approve the claims and payroll.
Second.
been moved and seconded to approve claims and payroll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
3 ayes. Now we have lots of papers to sign. Jane, do we need to bring this about Stephanie up before the board here?
Yes.
We have a request for a consulting agreement with Stephanie Glover to help to train our new payroll person. She got a job with the school corporation. Thank you, Scott. Stole our payroll person. And she left so fast that she was not able to train our new employee. So we're going to hire her on a part-time basis to help train our new payroll man, Derek Suman. I'd appreciate a motion to approve this consulting agreement.
I would move to approve it as later presented with the
Yeah, she's got the version 50 hours.
50 hours, up to 50 hours.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 3 ayes.
You got a good one.
Yeah, you did. The school corporation got a good payroll person,
Yes.
HR person. She'll do you good. She'll be very dependable.
We're happy for her and unhappy for us. Jim, while they're finishing signing up, would you like to give us an update on Bridge 25?
It's not done.
It's not done? It's getting close though,
It's
isn't
getting
it?
close. Right now, we finished the south wall. We're setting forms today, started setting forms for the north wall. The bridge deck is done, obviously. All the grading's done. We're waiting on the asphalt to be placed. We're still on schedule for November 6th. So
Very good.
hopefully we'll be a little bit ahead of that, but I won't commit to that right now. So, coming along pretty good.
Very good,
It
thank
looks
you.
good. I
Yeah.
walked
You go
out,
down
I went down there Sunday and looked at it, and it looks good.
We've actually had some traffic across it already. We went to set up to 4 Friday and had a deer run across there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny that, I'm assuming it's the concrete walls
Yeah.
that do it, but it still looks narrower than
It probably does.
a regular bridge, but
It's wider.
but it is wider
And
than,
hopefully smoother.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. But I would encourage you to visit it.
okay.
Get a hold of me sometime.
Maybe this afternoon?
Yep. That'd be
Okay.
fine.
you've got some locals down there that's been inspecting
I've
it
been
too.
informed. I've been informed. I get phone calls on a regular basis asking questions. And, so, but I encourage that. That's good.
Very good.
The great, the landscape around it looks nice. I mean, when it gets done,
I'm actually ready for the NOT. I mean, we've got 100% coverage on the seating.
Yeah.
And it was established very well, so.
I mean, it really looks like, when the project's gonna be completely done, it really looks like nothing's ever been done.
Mhm.
They've done a very good job of,
Yep, good contractor. Can't say enough about him.
Very
So,
good.
yep. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'll move to adjourn.
second.
Been moved and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting of Fayette County Commissioners is adjourned. Thank you.